You are live.
All right, welcome. Good evening, and welcome to Fire Football Radio here on October 30th, 2024. I'm your host, Matt McGrath, alongside Mr. Luigi Capola. This is the eighth episode of the Fire Football Radio Show for the 2024-2025 season. We will be live on YouTube Live every Wednesday night. As a reminder, starting at 7 p.m. to bring you the latest news, rumors, and more about America's game and the league we all know and love, the NFL. After a week-long hiatus, Luigi, in between weeks 8 and now 9, we were in the beautiful country that is Spain, across the border, across the ocean, across the Atlantic. Beautiful trip for us, but glad to be back in the States and glad to be watching football at a normal time, which we'll get to, I'm sure. But Mr. Luigi Capola, what's going on, baby?
Hey, Matt, doing good. Still, like we are just talking about, getting adjusted to a little bit of the jet lag we were experiencing. Finally, kind of getting back into the groove of things. But back to watching football too. We luckily got to catch some of the games on Sunday for a little bit. Had a fun time watching at brunch with some of our friends. Shout out Mr. James Ziegel. Um, yeah, no, feeling good. Glad to be back on the show. It's been a little bit, so I'm ready to rumble, man. Ready to rumble.
Ready to rumble. A lot to talk about as we missed the last 2 weeks, week 8 and then into week 9, but plenty of injuries as always to get into and plenty of important ones, unfortunately. First one on the docket: Texans wide receiver Stephon Diggs suffered a torn ACL in Sunday's win over the Colts. Incredibly detrimental. He was their leading pass catcher with Nico Collins out, and Nico Collins is still hurt and still on the IR. So now they go down to Tank Dell, who obviously is a very good receiver, but not as good as Stephon Diggs or Nico Collins. And having both of them on the field is huge as well. Luigi, a team that has tremendous Super Bowl aspirations, bringing in Stephon Diggs from the Bills. Clearly, he's made a tremendous impact so far. You know, this is monster. This is massive.
Yeah, especially with the Nico Collins injury. Obviously, Diggs stepped up big time the past few weeks to really assume the role of pass catcher, as did Tank Dell. But no, this is huge for a team that was vying for a Super Bowl, and honestly, huge for Diggs as well, who only was on a 1 year contract with Houston after getting traded over from Buffalo. Um, the offense hasn't looked as good as it did last year, and obviously you could attribute that to the Nico Collins injury of the past few weeks, and now it'll be the Diggs injury in the coming weeks. But CJ Stroud is, I think, having a sophomore slump type of year where he's not playing bad by any means at all. He's just not playing as good and as flashy as he was last year. So this is really important for them going down the stretch. Their defense has stepped up huge this season, playing super, super well. Their pass rushers are absolutely eating. Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, who they acquired this offseason, are both eating like crazy. They were second and third in pressures this week behind another pair of teammates, Miles Garrett and Zadarius Smith. Um, but no, the injury to Diggs is unfortunate. It sucks for Diggs too, like I mentioned with the contract. Like he might not get signed now this offseason. He might not get signed till mid-season next year around this time when gets back to healthy. And that's if maybe the Texans decide not to keep him around. He was very successful when he was in this offense, so hopefully he get back on the field soon. He's getting up there in age. But no, for CJ Stroud and the Texans, this is pretty detrimental, especially. And yes, they are 6-2, one of the very few teams that have such a good winning record. But regardless, it's important to have your stars on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you bring up an interesting point because obviously we're still have the feeling that we're still early in the year and the season just started. I mean, we're on the verge of week 9, and
We're halfway there. Literally,
we
we're
we are
legitimately halfway there.
50% of the way there after this week. November is this weekend. Our first week in November is this Sunday. The last day of October is tomorrow. I mean, it's quite insane. So, Booger McFarland, I think, said, when do we figure out who teams are? And he said after Halloween, because teams take their masks off. And that's when we see who the true team is. So, can
Wow.
the Texans face adversity, losing all these receivers? Texans, huge game tomorrow night against the Jets. Jets are surprisingly 1.5 point favorites at 2-6. Feels like a trap game with Vegas because you really want to take the Texans, and they're still favored. It's weird.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, I think the Texans defense separates itself enough as the best unit on the
Mm-hmm.
field. I don't even think. I mean, I don't know. I think everyone's expecting at some point the Jets to make this huge like burst onto the scenes, but they're 2-6. Like their playoff hopes are dwindling significantly. They basically need to win out in this AFC in order to make it to the playoffs. So I don't know, man. That's pretty crazy to me. The 1.5. I mean, obviously they're reeling after the Diggs injury, but they did still beat the Colts. Um,
And the
I
and the
don't
Jets
know.
lost to the Patriots. So
Yeah, the Jets just lost to a very bad, hurt Patriots team as well. It didn't even have their starter. Um,
Jacoby Brissett and the power of friendship.
yeah, those memes were funny this week. That's for sure.
They were good. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it'll
Yeah,
be interesting to see how the Texans respond. You still have CJ Stroud, and that's
yeah.
enough in itself. All right, next injury on the board. Vikings left tackle Christian Darrisaw suffered a torn ACL and an MCL Thursday and will miss the remainder of the season. The Vikings did trade in response for Jaguars tackle Cam Robinson this week. That was a pretty big trade because they're taking on a lot of money. I'm not sure how the exact split is, but I can't imagine that the Jags are going to be paying much of his contract. But Vikings, you lost obviously an elite left tackle. You needed a guy, and immediately they responded. And clearly, they see, this is a team that has super deep playoff aspirations, and we can't lose a step here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was a very responsive move. I mean, they clearly think that this is a team that can go far into the playoffs and obviously make the playoffs. That's not even solidified at this point, even though they do have a great record. Um, Yeah, I mean, it's really a good move. You know, Cam Robinson's got plenty of snaps played in this league, and he's a serviceable tackle. Um, but I mean, they just lost one of the top like three tackles in football, left tackle specifically. So, and honestly, a scary injury for a big guy. ACL and MCL is not an easy comeback. Um, so, it was smart. The Vikings recognized, diagnosed, um, what's it, Monty Ossenfort is their GM. He's always fantastic at making moves, and obviously he's built this roster into the formidable roster that it is today. So we'll see. I think that this was a smart move. I feel bad for Darisaw. I feel bad for the Vikings in general, but this should be able to keep them at the same pace. Obviously, yes, you're going to lose a step losing an all pro and replacing him with a guy, but at the same time, this is a good tackle who's been starting for quite some time. So hopefully it works out well for him, and hopefully Robinson could really flourish with this offense.
Yeah, Cam Robinson spent his first 8 years, was drafted by the Jaguars, and now is on his second team with the Vikings. So gets a little bit of a restart here. Obviously, the Jaguars are in no hope of playoff aspirations. So if you're Cam Robinson, pretty good deal here.
Yeah.
Packers quarterback Jordan Love strained his groin on
Excellent.
Sunday. Is expected to be week to week. Backup quarterback Malik Willis played well in Love's absence and will be playing likely in the next couple of weeks if Love can't go. Yeah, I mean, this is not the worst thing in the world for Packers fans since you already saw Malik Willis on the field. Jordan Love definitely offers a lot more, but competence is competence.
Yeah, Stroined brain is insane. No, it's unfortunate for Love, who obviously, like you said, he brings a whole nother like level to the offense, just a little bit more firepower. But Malik Willis really played pretty solid, and so it's good hope for the Packers that they can continue to be competitive even without Love. Um, but unfortunately, like fantasy owners, this is kind of big for you guys. A lot of people out there who had Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks and Romeo Dobbs, who's played really well in the past few weeks. This is kind of a big loss fantasy wise, but for the Packers, they have faith that they can stay competitive, especially with how well their defense has been playing, leading the league in turnovers so far this year. So hey, as long as Malik Willis can give you like 75% of what Love gives you, you're doing pretty good. And it seems like he might be able to do even better than that. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully, maybe Love will be out for a couple more weeks and we won't have to play him when we see them in week 12 before we go to Buffalo. And I'm talking we as in the 49ers. I know I'm not a part of the organization, but I am.
You are.
So yeah, no, unfortunate. It's his second injury this year. It's Malik Willis' second stint. But hopefully he can figure out this injury problem that he's been dealing with. A lot of lower body injuries for Love.
Indeed. Going to the chat real quick. Rob Shippers is in the chat. Hello, Rob. He says, Stroin Grain, fresh off company happy hour. We did have a company happy hour that I literally just came from.
Oh, this man!
So we went to a place called The Bunker that is an indoor golf simulator. So
Oh,
that was
sweet.
pretty fun. Yeah, a lot of fun. So Rob was there also. So yeah, Stroin Grain. Um,
That's awesome, Rob. Thank you for
B
saying that.
B16 buff Griffin Massing is in the chat. Hello, Griffin. He said womp womp digs, and then said I thought the Jets were winning the AFC East, according to you guys. Yeah, I mean
Oh, Griff,
he's gonna hang that over
stop!
our head all year, Griffin.
I
I mean,
know. I actually
completely
picked
fair.
Miami, by the way,
Right.
but
Not nobody picked the Bills. I think maybe Eric did pick the Bills because of
yeah.
like his Chiefs logic, which was correct to do. I don't know. I think everybody thought the Jets were going to be better. I mean, they could have at least been half this bad, and they would still have a chance. They're
I mean,
just bad.
yes, they have played some really good talent, but 2-6 with Aaron Rodgers is astronomically bad.
Yeah, I mean, a game against the Patriots, they probably should have won this past weekend, and they didn't.
They
Uh, a,
definitely should have won. It's the
a
Patriots.
game against the Broncos where they lost 10-9 on a missed field goal. Like,
Oh,
so,
Broncos.
the Broncos are, no, their defense is
Broncos
great, but
kind of
their offense
nice.
was bad in that game. So,
Yes.
game by game. Yeah, we're going to get to the Broncos, hopefully with Zach at some point today, because, yeah, they've been a big surprise for us. So that's been exciting for him. Turning through some of the other injuries in this report, Jaguars don't get any healthier. Wide receiver Christian Kirk broke his collarbone and will miss the rest of the season. Brutal. Brian Thomas Jr., their rookie wide receiver, also suffered a chest injury and is considered day to day. I mean, just insult to injury. They keep losing, and they now have worse injuries, and their offense is worse. And they just traded away their left tackle.
Yeah, I don't know what is going on, and I don't know why Doug Peterson has not lost his job already.
Yeah, I mean, Saleh technically lost it for less. So,
Yeah, I mean, Salah would have lost it at this point too if they continued to be this bad. However,
right.
I mean, there was statistics put up. We were watching, obviously, we're watching the 1 o'clocks, and there were statistics put up at the Jets Patriots game about the defense in the first 4 games with Salah versus the last 4 games without Salah. And they were only allowing like 15 points a game. They were only allowing under 300 yards total per game. They were a very good defense with Salah, and then he's left, and they have just been even worse. So clearly, I think that is more of an object of having no locker room presence anymore, as I don't think Olbrich has kind of stepped up too well into that role. But that's really the Jets. But to go back to the Jags, I mean, like just another team who, yes, we might not have had super, super high expectations of, but definitely higher than they are at this current point in time. And so just to round back to the Jets, like I'm surprised that Doug Peterson's not in the same position as Robert Saleh is at this point in time. So
Very
um,
true.
sucks for sucks for Trevor Lawrence, but he is certainly not playing up to his $55 million a year price tag,
No,
in
he
my
is not.
opinion.
No, he is not. Patriots quarterback Drake May suffered a concussion in the win over the Jets. Status is unclear for this week. As we mentioned, Jacoby Brissett came in and did a fine job to help them win the game, but Drake May was playing pretty good. He had a rushing touchdown early on. But as we said, this is going to happen because it's just not safe currently for Drake May to be playing out there right now, but he's doing it anyways, and he's going to need to. And hopefully he can get back on the field soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
49ers running back Christian McCaffrey has experienced no setbacks in his rehab and is gearing up to return sometime after this week's bye. Exciting.
Finally, finally, the Tin Man returns.
The Tin Man returns.
No, I mean it's big to get him back. Obviously, he's reigning offensive player of the year. He's a big, huge chunk of our offense. I just want him back on the field, and I want him back on the field healthy, um, so that not only being this year, next year, and the coming years, he could stay on the field.
Yeah, I mean, he's already missed close to half of this season, this regular season. But I mean, for the 49ers, if their team keeps trending in the way that it is and they keep performing well, it's going to matter more for the end of the season. I know you and Griffin were texting about, is he going to be ready for our Buffalo matchup in week, was it 12 or 13? And I mean, it's looking that way, hopefully. So that's exciting. So we'll get to see
Yeah.
him in person. So that'll be great.
Yeah, it seems like he's going to be back week 10 is the expectation from the 49ers.
Excellent, excellent. All right, there are the injuries. We appreciate everyone who's tuned in so far. We're going to get into the big topics here. A lot of interesting news this week. Bad teams doing weird things, mediocre teams doing weird things, good teams doing weird things. This has just been a strange year in general. But something that we have seen many a time this year so far is Mr. Joe Flacco getting an opportunity to sit under center and play quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts benched their fourth overall pick from the 2023 NFL draft, Mr. Anthony Richardson, after this week, and is now moving on to Joe Flacco as starter for the foreseeable future. So we've been told. Richardson played horribly this past Sunday and pulled himself out of the game because he was tired after a long scramble. Something I've never seen before is that. Something I've never heard a player admit after the game is, oh, I just got pulled because I was tired, not because I was hurt, not because of something else. And now the veteran Joe Flacco, who we love to see on the field, is now going to be playing on Sunday Night Football this week.
Yeah, Flacco's back, baby.
The
Flacco's back.
Flack
I
is
love it.
back.
I mean, it's good for their offense. I mean, Anthony Richardson has, since 2000, he has the worst completion percentage among quarterbacks that have played more than 5 games with
Wow.
44%. He's not even completing one of every other pass. He's just very, very bad in terms of accuracy. He still puts up numbers because he's athletic and his arm is very strong and his completions are pretty deep downfield, but still not completing half your passes is detrimental. And like we mentioned, Joe Flacco's 7-1 touchdown to interception ratio still stands. Played great in resurgence of Richardson, a replacement of Richardson, and it's great for the team. I mean, Josh Downs gets significantly more targets. Michael Pittman, when he's on the field, gets more targets. And it's just better, and I think it's the right move by Shane Steichen.
Yeah, I think it punishes Richardson for his actions that were not acceptable this past week. And I think it rewards Joe Flacco for being, a competent quarterback and getting another chance. And it's like Colts fans is this could this be the end of Anthony Richardson? I don't think I would say that. I think they just did this with Bryce Young, where they were like, all right, he's playing terribly, he's getting killed back there, he's not comfortable in the pocket, and he's not just being a good quarterback, and he doesn't give us the best chance to win. And a lot of these quarterbacks should be sitting behind veteran quarterbacks, which is why, like Joe Flacco, as we talked about weeks ago with Zach, is like he should have probably been a starter in this league since he got stripped from his starting position with the Ravens when they drafted Lamar. But
Yeah,
just the way that it goes, it didn't really work out that way.
and I
But
mean,
now he gets another chance.
even Baltimore allowed Flacco to play for basically a whole season, and then they played Lamar. I mean, he
Indeed.
sat for a year, and then came out to be the MVP the following year. No, I think this is smart. If they want to keep winning football games, Joe Flacco gives you the best odds. And I mean, if you look at the CBS put out a comparison of Richardson's first like 10 starts versus Josh Allen's first 10 starts, and it's virtually the exact same numbers. If anything, Richardson might have been a little bit better during the time. Um, so I don't know. It's very interesting. The league is turned on quarterbacks, on young quarterbacks, and doesn't allow them to grow and flourish as they used to. I know we went into that a couple weeks ago with Zach, and it does aggravate me because there is young talent everywhere, and just because everybody's not a hit on game one doesn't mean that they can't be a couple years down the road. So maybe this will work out for Richardson. It'll definitely work out for the Colts because I think Flacco right now gives them the better chance to win football games.
Agreed. Yeah, he'll give them a good chance. He's a sound quarterback. He fits Shane Steichen's system. They have also a huge game on Sunday Night Football this week against the Vikings in Minnesota. So, are you comfortable with going in with Anthony Richardson? Clearly not. They're going to make a change. Anthony Richardson can now sit behind Flacco and learn and also be healthy. And if Flacco eventually needs a replacement, but Flacco's the guy, man. Flacco is exciting to watch. And PMT was talking about it, and they said, really cherish this Sunday night game and be sure to tune in to Joe Flacco, because how many more Joe Flacco Sunday Night Football games are we going to get? We don't know.
This could be the absolute last one.
This could be the last one. So cherish it because he's one of the last of the elite quarterbacks of the Mannings and the Brady and Breeze and Rodgers. So it should be exciting. All right, a couple of trades. We talked about the Cam Robinson trade. We think that was a good move. A couple wide receiver trades. Ravens traded a fifth round pick yesterday for Deontay Johnson and a returning sixth round pick. Clearly, Deontay Johnson, the Panthers came out and said that he probably would be on the block. Ravens definitely need another guy. Helpful for Lamar Jackson, bolsters the offense a little bit better. Deontay was playing pretty solid throughout the season with, basically Andy Dalton the majority of the year. Not a bad move.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad move. I don't really understand it too much just because of the volume of that passing offense isn't really that significant. So I don't really think they needed a fourth option. Mark Andrews played really good past couple weeks. Isaiah Likely's had his solid season. Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman are kind of already getting like 10 targets apiece, but outside of that, Lamar's not really throwing the ball more than 25, 30 times a game, anyways. So it's interesting. It gives them another option. Absolutely. Deontay Johnson's an excellent route runner. That's his trademark in the league. He's good at getting separation, but they're not really a team that sits four wide and runs routes. So I didn't really understand this all too much. Maybe I'll be surprised and shocked, and Deontay Johnson will be fantastic for the Ravens. Not that I think he's going to be bad for them, but keeps them from having to worry about an injury in the receiver room. I think that's an important part of it. They gave up very little to get him, anyways. So I can't say it's a bad move. It's just kind of puzzling to me because, I mean, did they really need this to happen? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not this very second. I think, as you said, at the very least, it gives them some depth. As we've seen all these receivers across the league go down all of a sudden, like it's like the Texans just lost Diggs for the year, that Nico Collins is out, so it's definitely not going to necessarily hurt them. I know Deontay Johnson seems like he has in the past had somewhat of an ego, as any receiver would, wanting to get the ball. And this is not necessarily a passing offense, and this was kind of the issue with the Steelers. I mean, that was a Matt Canada run offense for sure, so that was a little bit probably worse. But yeah, I guess it's a depth piece. Maybe he's now ring chasing. He's not later in his career, but he's been in the league for a decent amount of time now. So maybe he was willing to do it, and maybe he didn't even have an option. I mean, the Panthers are just trying to get capital here, so it's a depth piece, I think, at the very least. So we'll see.
At the very least, absolutely.
Chiefs traded for DeAndre Hopkins while we were in Spain. Luigi, I can't remember where I said this. I think we were on a train when this was happening, a high-speed rail. When
Yes, we
DeAndre
were on the
Hopkins,
high-speed rail when he got traded.
when he got traded. Yeah, this was just last week. Chiefs
Very
said
early morning on, I think it was on our way to Barcelona.
yes, and the Chiefs had come out and said that they were looking for a receiver. I think they had tried to make a deal with Cooper Kupp, and the Rams didn't, or they didn't want to give up too much capital for Cooper Kupp for what the Rams wanted. So I guess they landed on DeAndre Hopkins. I guess another depth piece, but also like the Chiefs. The Chiefs could probably use him more. They didn't this past week. He was on limited snap and limited play calls, but losing Rashee Rice for the year, they were looking for a guy at the deadline. Darius Slayton's name was thrown in there, Cooper Kupp, all kinds of guys. So they landed on DeAndre Hopkins. He's old, obviously. He's 12th year in the league. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he like you said, he was kind of on a pitch count this weekend, so we didn't really get to see too much out of him. But there were some flashes. He played well. He ran a couple routes from the slot. He got a bunch of targets from the slot. But we'll see as it goes on, as he learns the play calls, and learns the playbook in general. I think it'll help them. I really do. Sky Moore also went on IR. Obviously, Sky Moore hasn't been too impactful on that offense, but he is a piece that's important. So this helps them significantly, but they're still finding ways to win, and I just don't understand it anymore.
Another victory with only 27 points over the Raiders this past week, 27-20. The Chiefs traded a 2025 fifth round pick that can become a fourth rounder if the Chiefs both reach the Super Bowl and Hopkins plays 60% of his snaps with Kansas City. So could become a fourth round. We will see.
Sure.
Chiefs still undefeated is our next thing.
Don't want to hear it. Actually, Sal Capola was texting me.
Oh yeah,
I sent him the link to watch, and he said, "Are the Zebras ever going to call a fair game when it comes to the Chiefs? It's getting hard to watch. Too many
that's a good
phantom
question.
interferences, holding calls going against their opponent."
Well, as we've said, the Chiefs have now become the modern day Patriots because they have Patrick Mahomes. And I mean, I think the funniest meme that I think I sent you guys was, the dubbed AI video of the refs saying the glorious Patrick Mahomes
Yeah,
flag on the defense because Patrick Mahomes, someone got too close to him. I mean, it's not far
someone
off,
got
but
too close to the glorious Patrick Mahomes.
50-yard penalty going against the defense.
The
Um,
Chiefs automatically win.
yeah, the Chiefs automatically win the Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, obviously exaggerated, but the Zebras have been bad, and Sal is definitely right to say that the Zebras definitely favor the Chiefs. I'd love to see a graphic of it, but it seems that way. That I mean, Patrick Mahomes gets every call. Some of them, I mean, the Bengals game early on in the year, that was a true pass interference, and we definitely get blinded by the Chiefs' aggravation with their calls, but there definitely is a lot of holding and different stuff that does not get called for them or does get called in their favor.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't get it. I mean, it's stupid. It's like there are blatant. Like we played them obviously last week, and we didn't get to watch the game, but I'm rewatching it afterwards, and there were holding calls all over the field, and it was just miserable, really miserable to just have to sit there and see Nick Bosa getting held over and over. Every single time we've played the Chiefs in the past 4 years, Nick Bosa's missed on holding calls over and over and over, and then we get called for ridiculous penalties. It's getting like a little blatantly obvious at this point that they're a little homer to the Chiefs, and I think that NFL fans are getting sick of it because it's just consistent and it's just baloney.
Yeah, and I think across the league in general, the officials have been pretty poor. I mean, we've been talking about that for the last few years. And I don't know what the NFL needs to do to change it. I don't know how they've changed it. I think the expedited replay definitely helps in certain scenarios, but it's come into some weird scenarios where they're not sure if they should go with the expedited replay. And it actually happened on Monday night where George Pickens, they called a touchdown and then immediately went into an expedited replay and said that his second foot was not on the turf, and which the replay did show that. And then the Steelers threw out a challenge flag, and the official on the broadcast was like, "Oh well, he can't throw that because they just went to the expedited replay." So it seems to be a little bit confusing. I hope that it gets I don't know cleaned up in some way. But the Chiefs are 7-0 and another low scoring win.
Yeah, I mean they're not a bad football team. They continue to find ways to win. I mean, I'm not going to shit on the Chiefs completely. They're still good at football, but I think that there's still plenty of opportunities for them to get what's coming their way. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Mike Remmer was asked about if he thought that the Chiefs could go undefeated, and he was like, "Absolutely not." Like this team is like the Patriots team that went undefeated was blowing out teams
Yeah,
and
they're
putting
just
teams in the dirt.
squeaking. They're
Oh,
squeaking by, but I mean,
yeah,
they're squeaking by every game.
it's
So,
true. It's what good teams do sometimes, but
yeah, I mean, oof.
every year is different with these one score wins, and they've had a lot of them so far this year. So it probably will come to a halt at some point, but when is that? All right. Jaden Daniels lore continues. Insane Hail Mary. If you didn't see it, look it up on YouTube. Absolutely insurmountable, crazy ending to this game that looked like was going to be a win for the Chicago Bears. Bears cornerback Tyreek Stevenson heavily scrutinized for taunting the crowd before the play and missing the start of the play, and then ultimately missing his assignment. Noah Brown, who caught the touchdown in the end zone. I mean, that was just insane. I mean, Bears fans, Big Cat was talking about it because he's a diehard Bears fan, and he was like, listen, a lot of Bears fans are upset about the holding on the final play, and he's like, don't be upset about the holding. Be upset about that we had 10 guys on the field because our 11th guy was talking to the fans and taunting them about the Bears going to win. And Bears fans were literally pointing and being like, yo, the play just started. Turn around. Crazy.
It was wild to see. I mean, that clip was all over social media, obviously. So I'm sure anyone listening has probably seen it by now, but they break down the actual way in which you defend a Hail Mary because there is Hail Mary defense. And it's kind of a stacked defense. You have some guys up front just in case it gets tipped forward. You have guys in the middle to defend the guys that are jumping for the ball offensively, and then you're supposed to have a guy in the back to prevent it from getting into the hands of Noah Brown in the back of the end zone with no one in front of him. So Tyreek Stevenson was supposed to be that guy in the back, but he was too busy pointing at fans and making funny remarks. I mean, that's a quick way to get yourself benched. I mean, Stevenson's a solid cornerback in the league, but obviously, like you don't do that. That's a clear misassignment. You cost your team a win, and now you're just a meme on social media.
Yes, you are. And this wasn't a great game played altogether. I mean, it was only an 18-12 win, and it was 15-12 with a late score by the Bears and a 2-point conversion. But yeah, this was brutal. I mean, Jaden Daniels threw this ball like 63, 64 yards in the air and got into the perfect spot for it to tip. And the worst thing is that Tyreek Stevenson was like the first person to get his hand in there
Oh
to
yeah,
pop
he's the
it
one
up.
that tipped it right back up, and
Yeah.
he's supposed to be the guy preventing the tip up. Like, yeah,
That was like
absolutely
immediate
absurd.
karma.
Oh my God. It was inevitable. Once you saw him taunting, you could have not seen that play before. You could have never heard that Jaden Daniels threw this Hail Mary. You could see him taunting, and you would have known something bad was going to happen. It's just like one of those TV moments almost at that point that something bad was bound to happen when you're taunting the opposition's fans.
Indeed.
Just silly.
Yes, this was a battle of the first overall and second overall picks with Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams played not that great, 3 bad quarters, picked it up a little bit in the fourth quarter to get them a score at the end. Jaden Daniels is just Jaden Daniels, and he's like one of the best NFC quarterbacks, and I'm afraid of him in this division for the next 15 to 20 years. Like, it's insane what he's doing through 8 weeks, and this Hail Mary just added to the lore. And obviously it's luck, but like at the same time, I mean, he had to throw it 65 yards in the air.
I was just gonna say it's luck, but he also put it in the only spot where it could have successfully been.
And Tony Romo said that Marcus Mariota should have been the one they should consider putting him in to throw the Hail Mary pass. And so he got shit on after the game and was like, "What are you
as he
talking
should,
about?"
as he should. Jen Daniels is a cannon for an arm. Obviously, we've seen and we saw in that play. Now Daniels is a nightmare for the NFC East. He is the best quarterback in the NFC East already. He's not a tush push merchant, and even though he's not getting paid $60 million a year, he's successful. Um, yeah, he might. I think that I know who the best NFC quarterback is, but he very well could be the best quarterback in the NFC.
Playing good.
Even though I'll still hold number 13 up there as number one, but
It's
that's
fair.
bias. That's pretty heavy bias. Actually, it's not that much bias.
No, he's
Brock,
up there.
pretty great quarterback.
Yeah.
Uh, but I
But
don't know. Jared Goof's kind of balling too nowadays.
Goof is balling, dude. But
Goof's kind
Goof,
of balling. Actually, he didn't ball this
no,
weekend.
dude. We're okay. Bouncing the Lions, dominant wins this week. Lions over the Titans, 52-14. Lions had least passing yards in any game this year, yet the most points. Jared Goff threw for 85, 86 yards,
86 yards, yeah.
2 touchdowns, and they put up 52 points. Like, that just shows you how good this offense is. Dave Montgomery threw for a touchdown. 4 different receivers had a touchdown. Just absolutely insane what this team is doing. Playing like the best team in the NFC, and it's just I don't understand how you could throw for 86 yards and win a football game 52-14. It's crazy.
Well, number one, you play the Titans. Number two,
Yeah, the
you
Titans are
you beat
back.
the Lions, right? I mean, they've played fantastic on defense. They had multiple turnovers. Their special teams was returning the ball to like the 40-yard line the opposite 40-yard line every single return. It seemed like, no, they beat the brakes off of the Titans, and they didn't really have to work too hard to do so. I think Amon Ra only had like 2 catches and a touchdown. Like that was it, and not
Yeah,
a lot of
two
yards.
catches, seven yards, and a
Yeah,
touchdown.
yep, didn't have to do
Like
much.
their offense didn't even perform that well
No. Jameer
because they
Gibbs
didn't
had
have
like
to.
Jameer Gibbs had over 100 rushing yards, but most of it was on like a 75-yard rushing touchdown that he had. So just one play. They beat the brakes off of him, and they didn't really have to work all that hard to do so. This is a scary, scary football team. If we had to revisit our power rankings, I think the Detroit Lions for me are the easy number one in the NFL at this point. Both sides of the ball are just fantastic. And the crazy part is they've been without Aiden Hutchinson for a few weeks now too, and they're still looking this good. So the
Dangerous.
Lions are dangerous. I said it. I don't know who I was talking to. I think I was talking to Jimmy this weekend. I told him I think that the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl.
John Parento just commented in the chat saying Lions Super Bowl.
Johnny P, love to hear that you're on the show. I think, listen, I think that there's only maybe 2 rosters in the NFC that can compete with them at this point, and neither of those rosters are playing great football, being the Niners and the Eagles. They're not playing convincing football. The Eagles had a bounce back win this week over the Bengals. They're finally getting back to healthy. The Niners are slowly getting healthier. But outside of that, I don't think there's any. Maybe the Packers could be considered
Well, it's like then you look
competitive.
to their division. You look to the
Yeah,
NFC
you look
North
in the NFC
with the
North, but
Vikings and the Packers basically and say, Vikings lost the 2 point game to them and the
yeah,
Packers. So it's like we're gonna see these other divisional games too. But I agree with you that those are probably the other two outside the NFC North that can actually compete right now with them.
and then I don't think anybody outside of maybe the Ravens is as complete as they are on both sides of the ball. And the Ravens have some bad losses already this year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, losing to the 1-6 Browns this weekend really does not help their case. And I mean, yes, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. They haven't lost yet, but none of their wins have been really all that impressive. The Lions have impressive wins. They have an impressive roster, and they are playing lights out right now. So I think if you have a favorite right now in the NFL, just in general, it's got to be the Lions.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, they're fun. They're hard not to root for in just the fashion
Yeah,
in
they're
which they
fun.
win.
They're
Yeah, the
fun.
fashion in which they win. No teams put up 52 points and get outgained by the other team. Like it's just insane. And obviously, yeah, you said the field advantage and the field position that they put themselves in on returns and such and interceptions definitely helped. But still, you got to capitalize, and this team just does. And when the Lions play at their elite level, the Lions, as you said, are unbeatable. Like they played half of an elite level football game against the 49ers last year in the NFC Championship game and then just allowed the 49ers to come back. Had they played 100% the entire game, they probably would have been in the Super Bowl last year. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the Super Bowl this year. We still have a lot of football to be played, but yeah, they look great, especially if they continue to be healthy. And yeah, losing Aiden Hutchinson was just brutal because like this team is really good. Other dominant wins: Bills over the Seahawks, 31-10. This game was never a contest. This was a blowout from the start. Very surprising, since I guess, well, not surprising because the Bills are great, but we thought maybe the Seahawks would have a better chance, especially being at home. And this game was just over.
No, it was over when it started immediately. I know League of Zest, B16 buff, whatever alias he's going by today was texting us a little bit about how the Warhog was the Warhogs
The
showed up.
Feral
The
Hogs.
Feral Hogs showed up. Yeah, no, and also I think he was referring to how the stadium was just packed with Bills fans in Seattle.
Mm.
Um, but no, it wasn't a contest. They blew him out of the water from the start, and Josh didn't really play his most impressive game, but played a complete game. And Josh has been really good this year.
He's been great.
Really good. Really good. He's not, there's no talks about, oh, the Bills could be so much better if he stopped turning the ball over. He's not turning the football over.
No, this was his first interception this week,
Yes.
and it's week 8 or through week 8.
Yep.
1,700 yards, 64% completion percentage, 14 touchdowns to 1 interception. I mean, yeah, this is by far, so far, the best year that Josh Allen has had in terms of keeping the football clean.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't scored as many touchdowns maybe as he typically would, but it's not for any reason other than their run game's also really impressive so far this season. So he doesn't have to carry the load too significantly. Ray Davis and obviously James Cook have been really impressive. So I mean, yeah, no, the Bills look really good. They look really good. They're a sneaky, impressive team. I think what's holding them back and what might hold them back in the future is just their depth and how they lack depth defensively, specifically. Um, but I like the Bills a lot. I think that they're the clear favorite in the AFC East. They have the same amount of wins as everyone else in their division combined. So they're doing pretty good.
Pretty good. Very good, Mr. B16 Buff. Eagles Bengals 37-17. This was a close game with like 3 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yep.
And then the Eagles just took over. Bengals looked like they did the first few weeks this week. The Eagles offense was not challenged. Jalen Hurts had 3 rushing touchdowns. Burrow struggled without T. Higgins. Yeah, the Eagles look like they're starting to make a comeback. They're a weird team this year. I mean, obviously they dealt with a lot of injuries, and it's just huge when they have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith both back in the game and playing for the Eagles. And it just showed out here. 37 points is hard, not easy to do.
Yeah, I mean, 37 points, weird points. It was really the Bengals defense. The offense from the Bengals looked solid, like you mentioned, for the first 3 quarters, but then after that, just kind of tapered off because they were starting to get pounded on the defensive side of the football. No, like I mentioned, the Eagles kind of are getting healthier and healthier every week. They had some big injuries, especially their receiving core early on. They still don't have Dallas Goedert back. But Jalen Hurts is right now on pace to have more rushing touchdowns this year than he did last year. And we were like, the tush push was going crazy last year, but
Wow.
now it's even more prominent apparently, which is weird. I think because he did have 3 this game. Um, I still like to see them be a little bit more dynamic. I don't think they'll be able to win every game in the fashion that they did with this week against the Bengals, but their offense couldn't miss for the majority of the game. But it is the Bengals defense, which has been rather lackluster.
Their defense has been bad, and that's what's most of the time been giving them 5 losses so far this year. And it doesn't feel like the Bengals should be 3-5, but they definitely haven't played to the level of not being a 3-5 team, which is
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. The rest of their division is tough now with Jameis Winston back in the fold. Mr. Winston balled out and beat the Ravens to everyone's surprise. And Deshaun Watson's replacement in his first game after the Deshaun Watson injury. Jameis Winston is, I mean, the same Jameis Winston we have always seen and is so excited.
Better at football, arguably, though.
Arguably.
Well, he hasn't had a turnover yet.
No, but Jameis Winston in the final 2 plays of the game on offense for the Browns gave you the absolute polar opposites of Jameis Winston. The first play, he overthrew his receiver on a crossing route straight into the hands of Kyle Hamilton on the Ravens, dropped it. I don't know how he dropped it. I mean, that was like as in the breadbasket as you could have had. And then the next play threw a 37-yard touchdown and an absolute dime to win the game. So like you're gonna get that out of Jameis Winston because you could have had a loss brutally with an interception and then boom, next play wash it out. I mean it's good. It's like a pitcher in baseball. It's like or a hitter. Like you have to wash out what you did last, and he is the best at doing that.
Just like Anthony Volpe did.
Yes, he did. We'll see how he does tonight.
Real big swing and a miss, and then he hits a grand slam a game later. Really
Yeah,
impressive.
yeah.
Or 2 games later. Regardless. Yeah, no, Jameis is fun. He's just fun. I just like watching him play football. I wish we'd been watching him the whole season rather than that other fucking guy. Sorry for my language, but he deserves an expletive. Um, no, I'd like to see him keep going. Obviously, this is a huge win. Their defense also, I think the big marker this week was how well their defense played. Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith, as I mentioned earlier in the show, combined for 18 pressures on Lamar. which does not happen to Lamar because he's typically not pressured that much at all. Um, so he doesn't really have the opportunities to be pressured too frequently, just how well he plays. But no, it's big time to watch the Browns defense step up in those moments. And fun to watch Jameis step up in those moments too. So this is a lot more of a fun team than we saw a couple weeks prior.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. Somebody was talking about how, uh, obviously we knew that Kevin Stefanski is a good coach, but then like Deshaun Watson sucked, and it's like, oh, this offense does it really work? And then it's like, but he had Joe Flacco and it worked, and now he has Jameis Winston and it's worked, and it's like, okay, now Kevin Stefanski's good again. We can believe in Kevin Stefanski. It was actually the rapist that was a problem.
Yeah,
So
he definitely a problem. No, yes, he definitely tanks the offense significantly. I don't expect him to be keeping a job for
it's
much
crazy.
longer.
Yeah, but like he's making so much
Well, he
money.
already made the money. It's in his bank account
Right.
already. It was guaranteed. So at this point, it's just like, you know what? Cut your losses. Don't have to deal with him anymore. And the bad publicity that he brings along with his terrible play. But I think the flack to Stefanski was valid just because of how bad like I mentioned, their defense was playing poorly too. Like the offense was understandable. It was because of the guy playing quarterback. But now you're finally seeing that they have a little bit more hope, but it also is coming on the back of their defense. It's just unfortunately it might be a little too little too late for the Browns as they've already lost 6 football games. Like I mentioned with the Jets, that's probably not going to be enough in the AFC to get you a playoff spot.
Yeah, maybe not. But regardless, Jameis Winston is out here playing spoiler. So that's exciting.
That is fun. We do
Yeah.
love that.
He just beat the Ravens this week. B16 Buff says Winston heals the world. I would agree. And then Johnny P says if you're born around water. And that is a great clip of Jameis Winston of the many. If you're born around water, you live in a different lifestyle. There's something different about you. And that's
Yeah,
one
he
of
has some awesome clips.
I mean, just after the game, he was acting like a preacher. We had to believe in ourselves, and it's just awesome. He's just so exciting, and one of the most unique players to ever grace the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool also to see how he's grown up since like Florida State stealing crab legs.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, it's been a fun ride with him. What else do we have on here? We have the PFR state first. Luigi, Mike Tomlin is now 3 wins away from another winning season. I haven't heard from Ryan Loisel.
That's my dude.
Ryan Loisel was at the Giants Steelers game this past Monday night. I don't know. He said he was thinking about coming on. He's going to have to come on at some point. Maybe it'll be fitting when he gets to 9 wins that he'll come on. But
they're 6-2,
yeah,
brother.
which is just insane. It doesn't feel right, but it is what it
No.
is.
I mean, Arthur Smith's running their offense too, by the way.
I know, with
And
Russell Wilson
there's
as the quarterback now.
yeah,
So it's quite the
yeah,
hodgepodge of guys that are making this team good. I mean, their defense is outstanding. They haven't given
yes,
up 20 points in a while. Moving to Russ was the right decision, which was pretty wild.
yes, it was.
Opens up
Mike
their
Tomlin knows, baby.
opens up their deep field. Wilson has proven to be the right decision with 2 great performances and wins. The run game is alive. They are dominant in the run. The defense is very stout, creating a lot of turnovers. This looks like, I mean, the offense is shaky at times, but this looks like a good football team.
This looks like a Steelers football team.
Yeah, Steelers football team. Great defense. Offense is good enough. Offense, it seems like it's improving. The run game is finally back. Najee looks great. Yeah, this is exciting.
This looks like a Steelers football team that we do know. I don't know, man. I don't know. They're fun. They're scary. They could
Yeah,
be the best team in their division. Their record says so.
yeah, I was talking with a Steelers fan at work, and I was like, this is the first situation I've ever seen where a team has moved on from a quarterback that has a winning record, 4 wins, went 4-2 to start the year with Justin Fields, and moved to a different quarterback and randomly because Mike Tomlin thought it would be a good idea, and they look better, and they've now won the last 2 games too.
Well, Wilson also was hurt to start the season.
Sure.
It's not like he was available the whole time. Um, but no, they now look better. Yeah, they have the ability to play a different style of football offensively, and it does open up things, like you said. The deep field shots are open up, and the run game is alive and much more open because they are a threat to throw the ball downfield.
Yes.
They're
Yes,
fun.
they are.
They're fun.
They are.
Mr. Loisel, you got a fantastic coach, my friend.
Yeah, and on the Monday night broadcast, they were showing, of course, the the graphic of the 3 coaches that the Steelers have had.
The last 70 years or so.
Yeah, since 1980, 1970, I don't know, something
No,
ridiculous.
yeah, it's like the 70s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
70s. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is just insane. Obviously, Tomlin, Cower, and then
Chuck
who's the
Noll.
Chuck Noll? Yeah. So I mean, three really good head coaches.
Yeah.
Hard
No,
to hard to find.
it's literally like three coaches. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. The Steelers do have a tough remaining schedule, which I talked about a lot in the beginning of the year because they are on the bye this week, which is exciting for them moving into the bye at 6-2. But following the bye, they have the Commanders on the road, which the Commanders have proven to be a pretty solid team.
Oh yeah.
They have the Ravens. They have the Browns, Bengals, Browns again, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals. So it's a tough road in their last 9 games.
Yeah, that is a tough schedule for sure. Um, they only need 3 wins
I
though.
was gonna say, do we see 3 wins in those 9 games?
They get one of the ones against the Browns for sure. They get one of the ones against the Bengals, and I think they could win another game in there for sure.
Chiefs,
They could beat
Eagles,
Washington. I think that they're probably
Ravens, or
better than
Washington.
Washington.
Yeah, their defense might hold Washington. Bears defense just did this week.
Yeah, the Bears defense is solid, but it's not the Steelers defense.
Right. Yeah. We will find out. Exciting stuff for the Steelers.
Mikey T, baby.
Mikey T.
Mikey T.
All right. Before we get to the picks, the PFR state and the state of our football teams here. Let's wait for Zach with the Broncos. 49ers bounced back, as we mentioned, to 4-4 with a win over the Cowboys. 49ers have a bye this week that will serve as rest time for the various injuries. 49ers looking more like the 49ers, Luigi.
The fact that we're sitting here talking about them being 4-4 is really disappointing to me. I was thinking about it today at work. It's just like I was thinking we're going into that Chiefs game 6-0. I really thought that's how it was happening, but unfortunately, that's not what happened. Yes, I will move to the current state of the 49ers. It's great to bounce back and be 4-4, especially with a game against the Cowboys. We just absolutely own the Cowboys. Um, it feels like everybody does at this point. They're terrible as well. Um, but yeah, it was good to get a win, and this bye is coming at a perfect time. You know, there's not a lot of big injuries. Obviously, we lost Ayuk for the year, and Christian McCaffrey hasn't played. But we do have some smaller injuries, like Ayuk's been dealing with the pneumonia, and he's going to be able to rest for a full week and then go back to practice for a full week. George Kittle's been dealing with a foot injury for a couple weeks now. He's going to be able to rest for a full week and then go back to practice for a week. We have Dre Greenlaw, who's coming off the Achilles tear that he suffered in the Super Bowl, who's likely going to be back after this bye week as well. Fred Warner has been dealing with some lower body injuries as well, and he's going to get a week where he could rest and get healthy. It's just a really good time to have this bye to go healthy into the rest of the season. The likelihood is that we're going to have McCaffrey and Greenlaw after week 10, and that means that we're going to have a fully healthy team for the first time since the Super Bowl of last year without Brandon Ayuk, however. Ricky Pearsall started his first game a couple weeks ago after being shot earlier in the season, and he looked pretty good. He had a couple of targets. He accounted for like 60 yards, which was really impressive to see. Jordan Mason also is another injury that he got hurt. He re-injured his shoulder, and he'll get another full week to get healthy and then bounce back. But in his stead, Isaac Guerrero, the rookie out of Louisville, played fantastic. So, Renardo Green, our other rookie corner from Florida State, he played super well, earned himself the top ranked corner on PFF this week.
Mm.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what the Niners are going to keep doing as the season progresses. But I think this bye came at a really good time, and I think we're gonna catch stride. A couple of years ago, we went to the Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo is our quarterback, and we started the season 3-4 as well. So we then won the next 12 games,
Yeah,
which
I
is
remember that.
pretty important. But I think we have the opportunity to do it. We have a really tough schedule ahead of us, but I think once we get back healthy, I think the sky's the limit for this football team. Zachary
Hi,
Mr.
Lee.
Zach,
Hi, Matt. Welcome
good
home.
evening.
Burger.
I'm happy you guys are home.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
good to be
happy to be
back.
home.
I don't know if that's true, coming from where you did, but
Eh,
We
it's
loved
partially true.
Spain, but we were talking about how we needed to come home just because we needed America back in our bodies.
fair enough. And your body's nice. Fair enough.
We wanted to be inside America.
True.
Um, so yeah, it was good to be back. No, great trip, regardless. Great experience across the pond. We saw a lot of culture. We're immersed in it, but they don't have football there, so that's one thing that we couldn't survive without. And the football games start pretty late, so that was unfortunate. We didn't get to watch many of them. But yeah, no, good to be back.
Happy you're back.
How are you, Zach? Are you good?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, can't complain.
Excellent.
I had double header soccer last night, which was a good distraction from school. We won the
Gola,
Nice.
gola, 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 gola.
Gavi Gavi.
Gavi, Gavi. Gavi, Gavi.
Did you guys learn any songs?
Just
We
Gavi,
learned
Gavi,
Gavi
baby.
Gavi.
Nice.
Which we'll explain to you after this. All right, let's get through the rest of this. Luigi, I agree with everything you said there. I think looking back at your losses, I mean, two of them arguably were not great. You lost to the Vikings, which is a tough football team, so that's not one of the not great ones. The Rams game, I mean, you obviously completely blew it at the end, and that was a brutal loss. But it's the Rams. Sean McVay just beat the Vikings, so Sean McVay can figure out ways to win. The Cardinals game was not a great loss at the time, but the Cardinals are a competitive football team.
No, they're 4-4 as well.
Exactly. They lead the division currently, which is crazy.
Yeah, you're telling me.
And then you lost to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are winning football games, and they're 7-0. They've beaten everybody they face. So 4-4 isn't that bad, and it's your division seems more competitive, I guess, than we originally thought. With the Rams figuring out a way to get healthy and come back, and the Cardinals
Yeah,
being
they're healthy
competitive.
again too, which is kind of scary.
Well, it was crazy that the Seahawks started off at 3-0, and we're like, "Oh, this is a great football team," and now they're like arguably the worst football team in the NFC West
Yeah,
with all the losses that they've had.
They are. I mean, they've
Right.
lost 5 straight games.
Not good. Very bad. All right, so that's the state on the 49ers. Zach stayed on the Broncos, 5-3 after a win over the Carolina Panthers, currently in the AFC playoff picture.
No.
Wow.
If you had to tell me that halfway through the season we'd have the same record as the Ravens, I would have never believed you. Boy, do we. Um, yeah, man. It's exciting times. It seems like things are coming together. Um, I don't want to say too much because the season doesn't end today, but like you said, if it did, we'd be in the playoffs.
Yes, right. There's still a lot of season to be played. There's
Look,
9 games left to go. But in the games that you've played so far, Bo Nix is looking better every week.
he was looking better every week. He's making less. What do you have? I think he had 4 picks the first 2 games and then
Yep.
1 pick since.
He's looking pretty impressive.
Yeah. So
And he's not like the first couple weeks he was like we said, every game he was like kind of getting better as the game was going, but he was still making mistakes. And he was still being a little timid early with the ball. Now he's throwing the ball across the middle of the field, throwing the ball down the field. His out routes are crisp. Like,
that was more important for me to see this weekend than I knew because they started the game with a graphic that said from 1 to 9 yards, he is over 70% completion. And then from beyond 9 yards, he is around 30%.
yeah.
But then he started throwing balls like 20, 25 yards. I was like, all right, this is good progress. But this past week against the Panthers, he was doing that.
Granted, it's the Panthers, of course, but
But still
Gotta
an
get
progress
NFL
is
team.
progress.
progress
The
is progress.
NFL. Nice, Zach. This
Yeah,
is
man.
exciting.
It's just good.
Defense is super,
Yeah, great,
super good too.
great to have Sertan back.
Fantastic. I didn't know he was going to come back this quick, but what are you going to do? He's back.
Back with a pick too.
Back with a pick. We chatted a little bit about Zach Allen, top 5 in pressures, which I didn't know, but very happy for him. And Jonathan Greenard was in that conversation too, which I wasn't expecting that either. Um, yeah, man. I actually don't know what the rest of our schedule is like. We're 3/4 of the way done with the NFC South.
Mm.
Just we have arguably the best team, the Falcons left. Oh, okay. Okay. So our next 3 games are a disaster. Ravens, Chiefs, Falcons. That's not great.
No.
Okay. But then we end pretty good. We go Raiders, Browns, Colts, Chargers, Bengals, and then end it. So who's to say what happens? Um,
You could sneak out some of these wins. I mean, you have a good enough defense to do it.
you know,
Uh, Also, those are like last 6 games.
really winnable.
Yeah.
Really winnable. The next 3 are tough. I hope we sneak one out of the 3. I don't know. We'll see. And then yeah, a bunch of
Falcons are a beatable football team.
yeah. I think we're in Atlanta though, which makes it a little bit harder.
It looks like you're in Denver.
Are we? I must have missaw it.
You're
Uh,
away the next 2
yeah,
weeks,
we are in
Ravens,
Denver.
However,
Chiefs.
the Chiefs kind of own the entire division, so good
Patrick
luck with
Mahomes owns the
that one.
division.
I'm like crossing that one out. The
Oh, you
Ravens,
guys beat the Chiefs last year, did you not?
Yes.
You won one of the games you
we
played
usually
against them.
usually split with them. I think Drew Lock has beaten the Chiefs even. So we have like a strange relationship with them. The Ravens lose weird games, so I don't really know what's going to happen this week. I
Yeah, but
haven't
the
decided.
Ravens don't lose 2 games in a row,
It's true.
except those first 2 games.
Yeah,
You just
except
got to
for
hope that you're going to be competitive.
that's exactly right. I just want to see some.
And you have been. You've been more than competitive, too.
Did you see the Alabama tweet about Sertan's interception?
No,
They
give it up.
posted the video of Sertan's interception. They put like the X and they were like Patrick Sertan. And all the comments were like, bruh, Bryce Young was the one who threw the interception.
That's pretty
Like,
funny.
what are you doing? He's a Heisman quarterback. Like,
No, they discounted it.
you're really
They,
gonna throw him under the bus like that? He was yours too.
yeah,
That's actually hilarious.
I'm like, who got this approved? So that was pretty funny. I thought that was funny.
I didn't see that. That's funny.
Yeah. All right. Final state of PFR. The Giants fall to 2-6 with a Monday Night Football loss. Brian Dable and Joe Shane's jobs are good to go for next year based on John Mara's speak, which I guess is fine as long as they can pick the right quarterback. We'll give them that opportunity, which they haven't had. Daniel Jones is cooked. The defense we're wasting because it's really good, and the pass rush is outstanding. Dexter Lawrence is a freaking monster. So that's really the most disappointing thing. But a lot of our rookies are playing really well. Tyrone Tracy's a monster. So that's really exciting. And we have no Andrew Thomas, so the line's not going to be great. But yeah, we're moving on to next year. 8 games in.
You were moving on next year 6 weeks ago, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I mean, after the first game against the Vikings, I was moving on to next year. I mean, they've been competitive. They just keep losing games, and they're just not going to be able to overcome because of their offense. So,
Unfortunately, not.
we have some bones that we can work with now, and
There are bones.
we got to move forward.
At least the Yankees are alive and breathing.
Yeah, a lot. No, they're alive and bleeding.
Yeah, they're bleeding pretty hard. They're gasping if they're breathing.
They beat the brakes off of them last night, though.
Yeah, finally the offense came alive. Luigi and I were talking about that before the show started. Yeah, we've got the ace on the bump tonight. There's been rumors though that he's dealing with some sort of elbow injury, so hopefully that doesn't ruin our chances tonight. But yeah, we need the offense to hit. Like the Dodgers can hit. We just didn't at all the first 3 games. So and losing the first game just blows because you won last night. You win the first game, it's 2-2 instead of 3-1. So that was just a brutal way to lose. So we'll see. If the Yankees are able to somehow come back all the way, it's the most insurmountable feat in MLB World Series history. So we will see.
We'll see. You got a little help from that dude in the stands. That was the funniest thing.
Yeah, the Capabianco brothers.
Did you see the slow-mo breakdown? Because they did it they what did they were like, we didn't do anything, it was over the line. And then the breakdown's like he's smiling, he grabs the glove, pries it open. His friend grabs Mookie Betts' other wrist so he can't move. Rip the ball out.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty hilarious. Obviously, the other guy ripping his arm at the same time as the glove was a little bit uncalled for, of course. But I think the
Yeah.
funniest thing was like when the umpire was looking up at them and Mookie was screaming at them, and they were basically, the guy with the sunglasses was basically like, "What are you talking about?" Like in drawing a line, he was like, "This is our line. You can't come behind our line and not expect something to happen." It's like, dude, like he's a right fielder. He can do whatever he
Yeah.
wants.
That's not how this works. You're not
I
above the
just thought it
game.
was so funny. Like he was just drawing some invisible line. He was like, "This is the line. Do not cross this line." Yeah, I mean, uh, somebody was saying that those two brothers should get bronze statues in Monument Park if the Yankees are able to make it all the way back.
Okay. Yeah.
Someone said, "Is this our grimace?" Like,
Yeah, it could be. It could be. We needed something. I mean, we
yeah,
really did. And
you
something to
really,
spark the
really did.
series. So
Uh,
hopefully it continues tonight. All right, Zachary, anything you want to talk about before we run into the picks here?
um, I really wish Anthony Richardson didn't sub himself out. That was a
We
mistake.
touched on that. Yep.
That was pretty stupid. Um, that's about it, I think.
The Flak Monster is back.
Yeah, apparently the Spikeman didn't like it very much.
Black is back.
Something for the year. So that'll be that.
Yeah, benching for the year is pretty interesting.
I guess it's a point to prove though. Like you don't get to just if you're the leader of the whole team, you don't get to just say like I want out. No.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah, and I think a lot of players it seemed like took exception to it. Like one of the linemen was like, "That's just unheard of. I've never seen that happen before."
I've
yeah,
never yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I've never seen that either.
No,
nope.
no, and like he could have literally just said like, "Oh, like I thought I banged up my knee or something like that." And then the press conference, he was like, "Yeah, I was, I was just tired."
You see the video of Micah Parsons' podcast? He was just like, just lie, dude. Like
No, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Why is he telling the
lie.
truth?
He's like, it's not your job to tell the truth to the media. Just lie, brother.
Yeah, he literally just told them the straight truth. Scott from D11 says Scott in the hizza. Uh,
Scott.
Scott says, "Did you see that Gronk went to college with the Mitt guys?"
Yeah,
No.
Interesting.
yeah. He was like, "Those are my boys." He was on. He was on TV talking about how he knows
Oh
both of them.
wow, that's crazy. Griffin said okay, this is the part we left out. He said the guy with the sliding mitt was so funny. The guy to the left of the guy pulling the mitt had a Tiffany blue sliding glove and was just wearing it.
So they were ready for action the whole time.
Yeah, I don't
I
know why the hell
guess
he's wearing a sliding glove. That's insanity.
it would have been awesome if the guy could have actually gotten the ball stripped out and grabbed it.
Oh, it would have been great.
Instead, he went back into play. But expensive way to get kicked out of the World Series there.
Yeah, and every Yankees game ever.
Yeah, they'll probably get banned, right? Did
They
they already
did.
get banned?
Yeah.
If
Banned
they
for
win the
life.
World Series, it'll all be for glory. It already is all for glory.
I mean, you can't manhandle the All-Star.
Yeah, you're a Hall of Fame outfielder.
You can't secure his free hand while you're prying his glove open. Like,
Oh, the Yankees have announced that the tickets from the ejected fans will be redistributed to a pediatric cancer patient and his family for Game 5.
nice.
Yeah, because they had season tickets, I think.
Correct.
They banned a valued season ticket holder. It was kind of egregious though. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, for
he's
sure.
pulling the glove, and then the other guy's like, "This is a great idea to just grab his wrist and try to pull him into the stands." That would
Yeah, it's terrible
yeah,
idea.
entertainment regardless. All right, let's get into the picks here and round out this show. Great show so far. We appreciate everyone who's still listening. The Yankees are starting up in game 5 with Garrett Cole on the bump tonight. So big stuff to watch for us. So we'll let everyone, as I'm sure a lot of Yankee fans are in the chat, get to that. But first, let's get through the picks. Week 9 of the 2024-2025 NFL season. Luigi's top dog at 77-46. I am 1 game back. Zach is 7 games back, and Eric, unfortunately, with all the home team picks, is losing ground here and is 11 games back.
Home teams.
Home teams.
Yeah, you figure out who I'm picking. I'm not going to tell you.
Home teams.
You go
All right,
first.
8:15 Eastern time, Thursday night football tomorrow night. Texans 6-2 at the Jets. 2-6. Jets are 1.5-point favorites, which is a weird one. No Stephon Diggs tomorrow night. No Nico Collins.
Oh,
But Luigi, I think as you said, the Texans have the best group on the field right now, which is their defense. I'd be shocked if the Jets win, but I mean, I don't
Wait,
know.
why did I
Maybe
take Denver in this
no.
game?
This is all. This is all a couple weeks ago. um, I think I'm going to take Houston. It might be a trap. It feels weird that what does Vegas know other than the injuries?
They know
Um,
everything.
like we get this over like Luigi we talked about. We get this overarching feeling that the Jets should be winning games, and we pick them every week, and then they lose these games. And I don't want to keep losing games on the Jets, so I'll take CJ Stroud and the Texans.
yeah. I mean, the Pats, the CJ, or excuse me, the Texans without Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins, I still think is a better team than the Pats, and the Pats beat the Jets. Um, I don't, I don't think this should be an issue for them.
I hate Las Vegas because God, I just think this should be such a simple pick, and I'm still going to take Houston, but I just don't get at all why this is the line that it is.
A big giant disaster that
Oh,
Jets fans are probably extremely upset about.
yeah.
Oh yes, they are. They are not
Oh
happy.
yeah. I'd
Um,
be super depressed.
Yep.
yeah, Gavin Sherban commented after I put up some memes this week and said to take them down. Zach, did you see any of the memes that we
No,
posted?
I'm sure they're heinous.
Oh, one of them was the Michael Scott and his like old bosses picture.
Oh, I did see that one of the Pats and the Jets shaking hands.
Yeah, highest expectations ever, lowest expectations ever, 2-6 at the handshake. The next one was who would win this contest? Did you see that one? The 2024 Super Team New York Jets or Jacoby Brissett and the power of friendship. So Jets fans probably weren't too happy about those ones, but listen, I rooted for the Jets for 8 weeks. I thought that the Jets would be good. They turned out to be a very bad football team, and they're just a bad organization making stupid decisions. I mean, Houston's got to win this game, right? Regardless, like running the ball well, defense playing great.
That's what makes the most sense.
Yeah, we will see.
Yeah.
Sunday's slate, 1 o'clock. Broncos 5-3 at the Ravens 5-3. Baltimore is 9-point favorites. I'm going to take Baltimore. Zach, Bo Nix has been playing great, but as Luigi said, Ravens don't really lose 2 games in a row, and they've won a lot since they lost those 2 games. So I feel like a bounce back is imminent. You've been picking. I think you've picked Denver every week.
No, I picked the Bucks.
Oh, you're a lover of the Bucks, or you were, which
Yeah,
we'll discuss when we get to the Bucks game.
yeah. I'm 4-4 on the Broncos. I'm gonna let Luigi go first, even though I think I know what he's gonna do.
I want to pick Denver, Zach, but I really don't think that I can.
Yeah.
9 points is also pretty crazy too. Like I don't think it should be a 9 point game by any means, but if Vegas does, then typically they know a little bit better. Um, but that's not really the sole reason. I just think that you're getting there and you're going to be there one of these years, but it's not quite this year, and it won't be against Baltimore. So I'm going to take Baltimore.
I'm gonna take Baltimore too. Our defense is really good in keeping us in games and winning us games sometimes. But for a team that's trying to prove themselves as a Super Bowl contender, the Broncos are a team that you have to be able to beat.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll be back in 1 sec.
Baltimore across the board over the Broncos. 1 o'clock. Commanders 6-2 at the New York Football Giants 2-6. 3.5 point favorites for Washington. Washington is riding on an all-time high. Giants losing a ton of games in a row. Um, I mean, the Giants played them competitively in the first contest, but that was week 2. They probably should have won that game, but Jaden Daniels is Jaden Daniels, and now it's week 9, and I don't know. I'm not going to root. I'm going to root for the Giants. I'm not going to bet on the Giants, so I'll take Washington.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I'm gonna take Washington too. I don't really know. Who are the Giants gonna beat for the rest of the year?
The Panthers in Germany next week.
Oh, nice.
Poor Germans.
Oh,
The poor
yeah,
Germans.
seriously,
It's
they
like
got
the
the
second worst thing to ever happen in Germany. Um, I'm going to take Washington as well. This is another head scratcher of a spread for me, but like Matt said, they'll probably just keep it close.
Washington across the board. Chargers 4-3 at the Browns 2-6. LA is 2 point favorites. Jameis Winston behind the helm playing good football. This is a tough one.
Chargers the favorite. Interesting. Uh, hmm.
I'm going to take Cleveland at
I was
home.
gonna say I really want to ride the Jameis train.
I'm going to take Cleveland at home for at least a game until we'll see what's really going to happen. But they're at home. They're coming off the road with a big win, right? Um, again, no, they played at home last week, but they got a good big win at home, and like they're gonna motivate their fans to stay on their side. So as much as I love the Chargers this season, and they do have the best tackle duo in the entire universe, um,
It's pretty
I
good.
still I'm gonna go with the Browns.
I need picks, so I'm gonna go with the Chargers here. I feel like this is a
That's
good.
fair.
I need 7 picks.
Hey, it's
It's
week 9.
possible.
You got a
I
lot of
made up
time.
like
Spread
six
it.
in one week.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. No, no, no. That would be heinous.
All right, Zach takes a separation pick. Yeah, I'll take Cleveland too. I want to ride Jameis for at least a game. Cowboys 3-4 at the Falcons 5-3. Atlanta's 2.5 point favorites. Do the Cowboys lose another one? Do the Falcons win another one? I like what Atlanta's doing. I mean, their offense is cooking. Kirk Cousins looks like he's cooking. There's another road game for the Cowboys. Give me Atlanta.
Oh man, the cow
Tough.
the Cowboys are so too expensive to be this bad.
Matt, by the way, Judge Homer, 2-run homer, and
All
Jazz
right.
Chisholm Homer. They're up
Oh,
three
let's
nothing in the
go,
bottom of the
dude.
first.
All right, let's wrap this up.
I mean, but well, whatever. You know what? Whatever. I don't care about this. Um, I'm gonna go with the Falcons. I feel like this could be a trap. The Cowboys, they're not gonna just lose all the time, but I do like the Falcons better.
I'm going with Atlanta because Cowboys do lose all the time. They're bums.
Atlanta across the board. Dolphins 2-5 at the Bills 6-2. Buffalo is 6 point favorites. What's the temperature going to be for this game? Because Tua cannot play in it. Give me the Bills.
Let's go, Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Buffalo too. I don't know what Tua's doing.
Buffalo across the board. Tua actually didn't play bad this week, but it was above
No.
like 60 degrees. So this week will probably be a little bit more difficult for him and Mike McDaniel. Patriots 2-6 at the Titans 1-6. Oh Lord, Tennessee
Terrible
is three and a
football.
half point favorites. Do they deserve that? Oh, this is ugly. I don't
Mason
want to pick this
Rudolph
game.
kind of balling, though.
No, he's not.
Kind of balling, though.
God, if you can convince yourself that Mason Rudolph is kind of balling, though,
Kind of balling, though.
I guess maybe you can take the Titans.
I don't want to be the first one that picks this one.
I'll do it. I'm gonna take the Patriots because at least they can like run the ball and do a couple of things. The Titans are just so egregious.
I don't know. Mason Rudolph kind of
He's
slanging it.
not
He's
slanging it. He's
he's
not
kind of
cooking.
slanging it though.
They did have 400 offensive yards last week
They did.
against Detroit.
And then what did they lose? 52-7?
14, yeah.
Jared Goff had
Well, the problem was
86
is they were
yards.
getting down the field, and then Mason Rudolph was throwing interceptions in the red
Kind
zone.
of slanging
Kind of
though.
slanging it though. He had 2 passing touchdowns and 2 picks. He got
Is Will Levis coming back? Which is something
no,
I thought I would never say, but
he's
is he returning anytime soon?
I do not think so. He is benched.
The dreamy Hellman's man. May your, what does he say? May your potato salad be creamy and your quarterback be dreamy. Something.
That's hilarious. I'm going with New England.
Oh, dude, what?
I'm in Pat's country.
I
Don't do
get.
that. Don't do it.
I guess we're going New England across the board because I know who Eric's taking. He can't take all the home teams this week. Give me New
Home
England, I
except
guess.
Pats.
Yeah. All home except the Patriots. Raiders 2-6 at the Bengals 3-5. Bengals are 7-point favorites. Raiders kind of blow. Bengals are playing okay and not great football on defense. Give me the Bengals. This is another bad game. We
Yeah, it
got
has
three
to
in a
be
row here.
Cincinnati. I don't like the 7 point spread though, but it has to be Cincinnati.
I'm gonna take Cincinnati too. I almost want I'm wondering if what you guys think of this. I have no proof for this at all. This is just something that I was thinking about when I was
Straight
watching.
vibes.
Straight vibes. I wonder if losing Devontae Adams was almost a relief for this locker room because I almost wonder if he was not friends with anybody and kind of felt like he was better than everybody and waiting to get out. And now they're just kind of like this ragtag group that is all everybody's ragtag and nobody's good except for Max Crosby. Um, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
Christian Wilkins went here to die, it seems.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't heard about him all year.
Yeah, at all. And
I
he
feel like a lot
was
of
one of
players
the
go there
best.
to die.
He was one of the best defensive tackles in the entire NFL for 4 years, and now he doesn't even really exist.
Brock Bowers is okay.
Yeah, but that for now.
Well, Zach, Devontae Adams thought he was better because he was, and the quarterback is
Is he
non-existent.
though? Is he?
I mean, he kind of got clamped this week by Christian Gonzalez.
He definitely got clamped.
Yeah. So, yeah, good vibes, Zach. Bengals, though.
I'm chill with the vibes.
Chill with the vibe. Bengals across the board. Last 1 o'clock game. Saints 2-6 at the Panthers 1-7. New Orleans is 7-point favorites. Derek Carr is coming back this week, I think.
Oh, is
Yeah,
he?
he's expected to play.
We can't deal with another Spencer Rattler, and who came in his
Jake
relief?
Hayner.
Yeah, oh my god. No, Derek Carr, give me the Saints.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Saints too, especially if Derek Carr is coming back. I honestly I felt really bad for Bryce Young because like he looked so like alive and bright when they scored the first touchdown on the first drive, and then they didn't score ever again, and he was just so sad. And
Yeah. Cry me a river. New Orleans hasn't won in 6 weeks.
They started out 2-0. We were like, hey, is this a Super Bowl contender?
Everyone was
they
like, the
lost
Saints
6
are the
games.
best team in football.
And then they lost 6 games in a row.
Yeah,
Oh Lord.
Games.
It's gotta stop. The bleeding's gotta stop at some point,
The
right?
bleeding stops whenever you play Carolina.
that's exactly right.
Bears 4-3, 405 at the Cardinals 4-4. Arizona is 1-point favorite. This is a fun one.
The mid bowl.
uh
The battle of number 1 overall picks that prefer to do anything but play football.
I'm gonna take the Bears. Black Ops 6 is out. The Cardinals are playing at home. Two things that don't work. Give me Chicago. Arizona's not playing bad though. Kyler Murray's playing pretty good.
Is DJ Moore, what's his problem? Is he hurt?
No, they
just can't get him the ball. Caleb isn't really that great.
I'm gonna take Chicago.
Give me Jonathan Gannon, baby.
Rizzler.
The
Did you guys
Rizzler.
see that they went on Jimmy?
Oh, hilarious.
Oh my,
Matt and I was
We were
giving the
diving
boom the
way
whole
too
time
deep
in
in the
Spain.
Rizzler.
Oh my God. I watched so many Rizzler videos in Spain and so many Moose State. Have you heard about the MCAA? Have you heard about the
you were
MCAA?
asking me. No,
Yeah.
what is that?
Oh, I'll send you a million
Does it have
videos.
to do
Don't
with
worry.
him?
Minecraft college athletics. You don't know about Moose State's $11.3 billion stadium?
No. Did they?
Oh,
They
oh, I'm
cook
gonna send you so many
Big
Instagram
State,
videos. I'm gonna send you
boys?
so many
Enderman
Instagram
U,
videos.
Enderman, you.
Sheep Tech. Yeah, no, there's a lot of good
Uh,
schools in
I'm
that
gonna
league.
send you
Nice.
so many
There's
Instagram
he has
videos.
way too many in his feed now.
Sounds competitive.
All right, Luigi Dixon, Arizona, separation pick. 405 Jags 2-6 at the Eagles 5-2. Philly is 7.5 point favorites. Give me Philly.
I think Philly wins by 40, honestly. The Jags traded away and broke the rest of their team. Someone fire Doug Peterson for me, please.
They might. Okay, I'll take Philadelphia.
All right, Philly across the board. 425 Lions 6-1 at the Packers 6-2. Detroit is 3.5 point favorites. I
Excellent.
mean, I've like
B16 Buff loves Minecraft football.
he's on the wave.
He's on the wave.
This is a fun one, a fun NFC North battle. No Jordan Love potentially this week, and the Lions are balling. Give me the Detroit.
Detroit in the middle of the street.
I take the.
Detroit.
Detroit.
I need Jordan Love so I can execute my master plan against you, Matt.
Love hurts.
Love hurts.
Dude,
I
accept my trade, bro. I don't understand
The
this.
trade is
You both
so
should accept my trades.
He sent me a fourth rounder for Jordan Mason.
It's a good deal.
It's
You
a
guys should both
Dude, you
accept
didn't even
it.
counter. You didn't
Did
even
you guys
decline.
see the trades that I sent you?
Did you? No.
No, I haven't seen it yet. Today?
What fool trade?
I sent you guys trade like 3 days ago. You should both look at the trades.
I have DMs. No, you didn't send me anything.
That's
I have
false.
a trade from the Banter Lord.
Lies.
No,
Banter
wait.
Lord wants
Wait,
my.
no, Matt, check your app.
I'll check after this. I
No,
gotta
check
finish
right
it.
now.
I
Check
can't.
right now.
My Zoom is on my phone.
Hold on.
425 Rams,
Please don't.
3-4 at the Seahawks, 4-4. Rams are 2 point favorites. Give me the Rams. I think
Hold
the
on.
Seattle Seahawks will keep losing.
I'm going to take the Rams too. We need to reprimand the Banter Lord. He has tried to give me Puka Nacua and Jalen Waddle for my second round pick.
Hey, he tried to do the same thing with me.
Oh, what'd you say? No?
Well, he was actually giving me more than that, but
He has more respect from that, apparently. I'm going to go with the Rams as well.
Fine.
They're healthy and good.
How do I find this?
How do you guys not see my trades?
all right. Sunday Night Football 820
Oh,
Colts
yeah,
4-4. Joe Flacco led at the Vikings 5-2. Minnesota is 5 point favorites. This is a fun one. Zach, you're taking Minnesota, I see. That's a good pick. I'm taking Minnesota as well. I think Flacco will be cool to see on the field, but Vikings need to bounce back after a tough loss last week. The Rams.
I'm going with Minnesota.
Monday Night Football 8:15. Bucks 4-4 at the Chiefs 7-0. Chiefs are 8.5 point favorites. I've taken the Chiefs 7 times. They've won 7 times. Taking the Chiefs again.
Going Kansas City as well.
Zach. No. Tampa.
There.
Oh.
No, that's from last week.
That's from last week.
Hold on.
All right, Zach. You said 2 weeks ago when we talked to you before we went on the Spain trip that the Bucks were one of the best teams in NFC. Unfortunately, they got really hurt in the last 2 weeks
I'm really hurt bad.
and lost the last 2 games, and now they're 4-4. So what are our thoughts?
Do we know the injury report on Godwin's IR?
Godwin's done.
Godwin's out for the
And
year,
Evans,
and Mike
but-
Evans is going to miss at least one more game.
They're not anymore. That sucks so bad, man. Yeah, they're just not. They just blew up the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, you had the take, and immediately it was squandered by all these injuries.
Immediately squandered bad. I'm gonna take Kansas City. Man, that sucks.
All right, Kansas City across the board. That's the week 9 picks. Luigi, 49ers, and the Steelers are on the bye this week.
Good
So
rest week.
good rest week, and the rest of the league is playing. So for this, actually, a pretty fun slate this week. I'm excited for this. This will be interesting. We appreciate everyone who's tuned in today. Griffin, Johnny P, Rob, Shippers, Scotty Merrifield from D11. Time to watch the Yankees. Excited that they're doing well already. Any final words? Go Bo Nix.
Go Knicks.
Go Niners, even though they're on a bye.
All right.
It's always go Niners.
See what the Giants can do this week. Probably not much. All right. It's been Fire Football Radio. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next week in November.
Peace.
Oh,
I forgot that I have to end the stream.
You do.
Oh,
It has been ended.
good job.
All right, but you guys should go look at my trade.